welcome to the channel. Welcome back if you've been here before. My name is Ash. Not our usual L-word content today, on to the latest episode of my 600-pound life. Where are they now? We're going to be talking about episode 2 and also talking about 2 topics that are discussed in most episodes of my 600-pound life, and 2 topics that were a big part of my weight loss. One of them is something people generally don't talk a lot about when it comes to weight loss, especially large amounts of weight loss. And the second one seems to be one of the only things that a lot of people do ask you if you've lost a ton of weight. And if you've also never been here before, over the last year and a half, I've lost about 175 pounds. And I do also have a gastric band. I have one of the fillable gastric bands. If you have any questions about gastric bands, I do have a video on it. It's my very early days of YouTube. So if you have any other questions or anything, please feel free to put them down in the comments. So on to the episode. I said this in my last review where we talked about Benji, David, and Erica. I love Where Are They Now because, especially after the last season that we've just had, season 8, where I really feel like nothing happened. I talked a bit more extensively about this in the episode 1 review. So I feel like last season just not a lot happened. So it's great to see these people back. This episode focused on Alicia, who is in her 2nd year of her weight loss journey, and Pauline, who is in her 4th year of her weight loss journey. Dr. Now was also pretty much on fire this episode. I mean, he always is, but it's just amazing. One of his best episodes, I would say. What I thought was pretty interesting about these 2 women featured as well were that both of them at one stage quit Dr. Now's program, and both of them came back, which obviously they saw the grass isn't really greener. Dr. Now is one of the best, if not the best, bariatric surgeon in the US, and he's definitely one of the best in the world. His program gets results, and if they had to go out there and quit and, you know, think they could do it by themselves and come back, then more power to them for actually sucking it up, saying, I made a mistake, please let me come back. Alicia. Last week we had Erica talking a lot about Jimmy, and Alicia's boyfriend is a guy named Tim. In her original episode, I remember thinking he was a little bit controlling, and after this Where Are They Now episode, whoa, he is a lot controlling. Just some of the language that she was using, especially in the voiceovers. She was saying things like, I spoke to Tim and asked him if I could go back to school, and it was a no from him. He thinks that I'm, you know, trying too quickly. It's a great scene with Dr. Now, Alicia and Tim kind of starts speaking for her, and Dr. Now just completely destroys him, like tells him exactly that he's controlling, that about how he's trying to manipulate Alicia, all these things. And it just, Dr. Now was absolutely 100% right in what he was saying. And Tim uses a lot of this language, like, you know how protective I am of you. And people do that, making it seem as though they're these loving, do everything for them, when really, no, they're trying to control you and manipulate you. So if there's one scene that you watch from the episode, make sure it's the one with Dr. Now, Alicia, and Tim. I mean, by the end of the episode, Alicia goes back to school. She seems to be doing great. She's still losing weight and everything. So it was great to see her towards the end, and she looked great. She looked very happy, and she was trying to a degree to become a kindergarten teacher. So hopefully next time, you know, she's closer to that goal. Dr. Now did bring up a lot of the time with her and her appointments, how she was staying at home and she had no kind of drive or ambition, and that's why he was really trying to focus her on getting a hobby, getting a job, getting something to do, go to school where you're not just sitting at home waiting for Tim to come home from work. I mean, that's no life for anyone. So hopefully she continues with her weight loss journey and she gets to her goal of skin surgery. Pauline has been a slow journey, And I think a lot of people are eating the words because I'm very active on Reddit and I go to my 600 pound life board a lot, and people in the beginning were kind of, she's never going to do it, she's never going to make it. And also she had like a lot of these setbacks where whenever she did have surgery, Dr. Now was, he expects of everyone to get up the day after surgery and ambulate, and she just wanted to keep a catheter in and didn't even want to get up to use the bathroom. So it was very surprising that she actually got down in weight. She had a slip up, put on some weight, lost it again, and then she had 3 skin surgeries. She had terrible lymphedema in her legs where she couldn't wear shoes, she couldn't really walk, she couldn't do anything. Like, her legs were enormous and filled with lots of fluid. So in the Where Are They Now episode, she had both her legs done, and for someone who does not tolerate pain well, Dr. Now even points that out. He kept her in the hospital a month afterwards, and after she got out after a month, she had like another month or 2, and then she had the second leg done. So go Pauline. The 2 things that I wanted to also talk about along with the show, each of the women shown in the episode kind of fits into each category. The first one being the kind of mental weight, being severely overweight. Alicia talks, especially in her original episode, a lot about not wanting to go to school, not wanting to go out because people were always like looking at her and staring, and she felt like a monster, and she was really down on herself, and she was at home not really doing anything, and that seemed to be really kind of, for lack of a better term, eating away at herself. I personally know when I was very, very overweight, my mental health was terrible. And also it's that pressure that you have on yourself of constantly having to think about your weight. I mean, the show shows it pretty well. Like, when you wake up in the morning, like, you're thinking about it because you're hurting. But I mean also things like, I have always had a good career, and even things like when you're walking into offices, like the sets of stairs and where you park, and all those little things that just I don't even have to think about anymore because it's not something that affects me. Like, it doesn't matter if I have to park 10 feet from the front door or a mile, like, I could walk the mile. And I don't think that people who have never been seriously overweight just don't even realize, because why would you, what it's like to have that constantly sitting in your mind. It's like a little annoying tick that's just always there. I mean, one of the bigger ones was always traveling. As a single person and traveling a lot, especially a lot for work, my biggest, I had to use one of those seatbelt extenders. So it was like, when you're getting on the plane, putting it in your pocket because you don't want to be embarrassed, like taking it out of your bag. Sitting on the plane as well, like, oh, if I was traveling with someone, it wouldn't be so bad. When I'm not traveling with someone, I knew, oh my god, I need to get a window seat so I can try and wedge myself as tight as possible against the window so that I'm not on top of or going into the personal space of someone else. Like, I knew, oh, I can't even get a drink because the table like won't go down because it'll hit like my stomach and my chest, so I can't put the table flat. And even walking through airports, like really, really big airports, at my very, very worst, one of my favorite things to do in the entire world is to just get a coffee, go into Target on a Sunday and just walk around and look at crap. Like, I don't even have to really buy that much. But towards the end of the time that I was at my biggest and before I started losing weight, it was, I didn't do that anymore because it was physically so painful for me to stand. Or if I did go to Target and do like grocery shopping, I would, and even if I didn't need it, I would get a cart so lean against it and have like a break. Even things like you're going to a wedding and getting clothes, like I can go into any store and get stuff straight off the shelves, but if I was going to a wedding or anything, especially being a bridesmaid, having to order like the special dresses, get everything completely changed for you, going to Universal Studios, Disney, I used to live in Florida, and walking around those parks, like at one stage I just couldn't do anymore. I'd go in the morning or the afternoon and just do a few hours. And I absolutely love roller coasters, and when I was at my absolute biggest, I wouldn't even try and get on them because I'd be so embarrassed thinking that I couldn't fit, and I knew some of them I couldn't fit on. So it's just that constant mental thing, and having to think about that all the time is so draining. And obviously your mental health is really bad when you're severely overweight, and it's just an awful thing. And I mean, obviously other big people are aware of it, but no one ever really talks about it too much. And I think that we don't talk enough about mental health in general. You don't get hundreds of pounds overweight just by liking food or having, you know, a few days where you've eaten fast food. Like, to sustain weight like that, you have to be eating an enormous amount of calories constantly and consistently all day, every day. So if there's anyone that's watching this video who recognizes that mental weight in themselves or wants to lose weight, the number one thing I can suggest you do is reach out for help. And that can be in any way: help with getting a plan together, talking to people. Like, the best thing you can do is talk to family and friends about it too. So that's the number one thing. Get a good, simple, easy plan that you can follow and you can work on. Another topic, which is what I probably get asked most about weight loss wise, especially from friends and acquaintances, or even some people that like I work with, or gym or anything like that, is loose skin and skin surgery. I mean, I have been pretty lucky. I mean, I did lose nearly 200 pounds. Of course I'm gonna have loose skin, and even I've got like quite a lot of tattoos on this arm. I've got like a big one here too, and I've done like a lot of arm exercises and things, and I really don't have any loose skin on my arms. I still do have 70 pounds that I want to lose, so you know, I'm sure that will get worse as I lose the rest of the weight. My only loose skin is I have like a small amount on my thighs, and the majority, like 80% of my loose skin is on my stomach. Could I get loose skin surgery? Yes. Is it bad enough that it's going to severely impact my life? No. Still kind of in two minds about it. I do think about it a lot, but it doesn't really cause me any like pain or discomfort. It just doesn't like look amazing, let's be honest. I totally will when I get to my goal weight in about 70 pounds. I think it'll be a different story, and maybe I'll evaluate then how I feel about it. But seeing like Pauline, obviously, you know, with her lymphedema on her legs, and most people on the show who are like 600 pounds, of course, like they need it because their stomach and things like is so stretched that it's actually painful, like pulling on them and stuff. Like Benji would talk about that a lot last episode. So I think it's like a personal thing. Obviously, anyone, I would say most people over like 450 probably really want skin surgery, because that seems to be about the weight that once you lose it, it is kind of painful or pulling or uncomfortable. And I definitely will reevaluate when I get there. But people ask me a lot about loose skin and whether I'm going to get the surgery. And honestly, I just always am like, well, I want my boobs done, like reduction and lift, and then I'll reassess what's going on with everything else. But I'm just happy to have lost the weight, and you know, I'm not going to be modeling for Victoria's Secrets anytime soon, so I'm not too bothered. If you guys have any questions about loose skin, or any questions in general about weight loss or my 600-pound life, Dr. Now, anything, pop the questions down in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed the video, please consider giving it a thumbs up. If you would like to follow me on social media, my social media, Facebook and Instagram are the.ash.silver, and my Twitter is theashsilver1. So check me out over there, and please consider subscribing to the channel, and be sure to hit the bell notification so you're notified every single time I post a new video. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Take care and have a good weekend. Bye, guys.